Big day here, and so our team coverage continues for you now. We have WLWT News Flash John London joining us this afternoon.
John, and this has been a long wait. A lot of people watching to see who the former president's running mate would be, and now we know.
We know now, and at 39, he's the youngest of the three that were on the short list that were being considered. He will turn 40 in early August is when he will do that, and he's MAGA through and through. Despite being anti-MAGA 8 years ago, as Todd was pointing out, he now possesses a magnetic appeal really to the Trump base. Burgum is someone who would have brought business experience and deep pockets to the campaign. Rubio would have been reassuring to the GOP establishment, the old line Republicans, and would have had strong appeal to Hispanic men. But Vance provides a key ingredient for Trump from a political strategy point of view. He's Rust Belt, a native of Middletown, author of the New York Times bestseller Hillbilly Elegy, considered an inspiring American story by some, criticized as self-serving exploitation by some others. His is a remarkable rise just 2 years into his first elected office as an Ohio senator. He now would be a heartbeat away from the presidency if Trump manages to win in November. Vance, of course, has demonstrated loyalty to Trump, which the former president prizes. He made it a point to be in the Manhattan courtroom during Trump's recent trial. He was a key part of a local fundraiser for him and has made no secret of his desire, his willingness to be Trump's running mate, saying recently he would have been disappointed, or he would be disappointed if not selected. So J.D. Vance is the one that is going to be running here with Donald Trump, and as I indicated, it's a fast track for him from where he was just a short time ago running for the Senate.
Just 2 years ago, and we know it was Trump's endorsement that catapulted him to that Senate seat. John, what are some key elements that we think that Vance will bring to this ticket, this campaign, over the next 100 days or so?
Well, he's got a big appeal with the Trump base. There's no question about that. He is also an attack dog. So you've got an attack dog at the top, an attack dog in the number 2 spot. And it will be interesting to hear from the former president when he speaks Thursday night as to what kind of tone he sets in the wake of the assassination attempt just a couple of days ago with Vance as his running mate. It's possible that Trump might stay above the fray in a way and leave Vance to be the one to be more, as I say, of the attack dog.
Well, look, we thought, especially last night, our Karen Johnson was outside of J.D. Vance's house or nearby. We knew there had been lots of security there, so it looked like maybe this was what was going to happen. But you know what I think a lot of people out there don't realize is we have not had ever a VP pick from Ohio. We've had running mates, but they've never won. It wasn't since 1944 that we had one. So this is huge for the state of Ohio. All right, John London, we're going to be talking with you a lot more throughout the evening. Thanks so much for your perspective.